My name is Trisha Tate. I am CEO of FinCore, and I am author of Dancing with Numbers, Grow a Financially Healthy Business, and Choreograph Your Life, which is 1 year old this month. I am super excited. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna have a whole birthday cake for the book and everything. All right, so let's move on. So my compelling why. At the center of every great business is the compelling why that gave birth to it. Why do I do this work? Some people are like, numbers. That's me and other things. So I have been a finance professional, like I said, for 23 years. I majored in finance. I went to Wharton undergrad, and I got my MBA from Fuqua School of Business at Duke University. I worked on Wall Street for 6 years at Merrill Lynch and Citigroup, and I realized I really want to have greater impact using my finance and accounting skills. The women in my family have taught me to be financially independent. We were having those conversations really early on. I saw people own their own house. I didn't see entrepreneurship, but I saw investment, I saw long-term insurance. We were having conversations about taking care of elderly parents and saving for children. Because of those conversations, I really thought it was important to have financial empowerment and be an advocate for financial empowerment. So when the recession hit in 2008, 2009, I lost my six-figure job on corporate, and I was like, oh my God, I've never been out of a job. However, it gave me the freedom to pursue a couple of things that I'm passionate about. What I am passionate about is numbers and money, but I'm also passionate about dance. I have always wanted to be a professional dancer. Like Chef JJ said, his parents were like, you gonna cook? What are you talking about? My immigrant parents were like, you gonna dance? That's not a real job. But it's something that always stayed with me, and I wanted to take the opportunity to try to be a dancer in New York City. So I gave myself 5 years after I was laid off of corporate to do something big. I thought I was gonna dance with Beyonce, or I'm gonna be on Broadway. I'm gonna do something, right? It took 5 years. I eventually got the opportunity to join the Broadway cast of Fela in 2012, 2013, and I've been with a dance company in New York for 15 years. It is the creative thing that feeds all of who I am. You will not meet another accounting, financial, money-loving, spreadsheet-loving person who loves to dance and has a bunch of color in her brand. You're not gonna find that out there. So with that, I wanted to also run a business that had to do financial empowerment. And so I started my company, FinCore, about 7 years ago with the intention to support business owners at a certain stage in their life cycle. I'm going to talk about the different life cycles of a business's life, where they really needed financial insights. They needed more from their numbers. They needed more than the CPA and the bookkeeper would provide them. And so I wanted to fulfill that service. So this is all that we do. And then also in alignment with being an advocate for financial empowerment, I wanted to write a book that made numbers fun and exciting, to encourage people to have a good relationship with their numbers. It is a very easy read, 155 pages, available on Amazon. It's for the newbie person, it's for the middle-level person, it's for the person who's been in business 10 plus years, $1 million, $5 million. Give it a go. So those are my compelling whys for why I'm here today. The other why is I love Kay, and I'm a luminary member. So whenever she calls, you just. All right. So you've probably heard the statistic over and over again that 70% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years of business. So if you've been in here 5 years plus in business, give yourself a round of applause. If you are starting in business, know that entrepreneurship is like going on a boat, cutting the cord, pressing the motor to go to the middle of the ocean, and being there by yourself, figuring things out in the first few years. However, it's a freeing experience, but there's a lot to learn. And let me tell you something, No matter what your expertise, no matter where you come from, it's going to be humbling. There's going to be something you absolutely don't know and you are fearful about. I have so much respect for entrepreneurs, way more respect than the people that I worked with on Wall Street, because it takes a certain something to keep it moving when you are terrified of things. And I know one thing that people are terrified about is numbers and the financials. We take it very personally. If I tell somebody this number doesn't necessarily look right and we need to improve it, here are a couple ways. How I realize CEOs hear that is, I did something wrong, my baby is wrong, and I'm bad. And having the emotional intelligence to deal with that with CEOs, I think is probably the most valuable skill that I have sharpened over time because of this conversation. So 70% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years. One of the main reasons for that is mismanagement of cash. I have seen it, whether you have $10,000, $250,000, $1 million, or you're a multi-million-dollar company like WeWork. Cash is super important, and managing it appropriately so that you have the runway to grow and scale is critical. Now, there are many other reasons why a lot of small businesses fail. And in fact, I think there are 5 financial mistakes that typically make or break small businesses, and I'm going to talk about them here. Moving on. Number 1, poor cash management. What does that lead to? And so for every one of the 5 I'll talk about the pitfalls of that, and then some solutions, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here for tips. Where your notes at? Where your pen? All right, you ready to write notes? Okay. Poor cash management. So some of the pitfalls of that is you end up being in survival mode and stressed out as a business owner.
Yes.
You are the visionary. You need to free up your space and your mind to be able to create and to connect with customers and to bring money in. You don't have time to be stressed, right? But unfortunately, if we're working in a tight cash flow position, we end up spending so much time focusing on that. Credit and credibility is at risk when there's poor cash management. One, you don't have the monies to repay your debts. And then if you're unable to pay employees, this is like the biggest scare for many people. When you're unable to pay employees and vendors, then you kind of lose respect for you. So I have some 10 commandments of cash flow to help you out. Now, I'm a Brooklyn girl. And in the words of Sir Biggie Smalls, anybody know his rap, the 10 something commandments? All right, so this is a spinoff of that, but it's not about that. This is about cash flow. So here are some ways to slow cash going out of the business. First thing is to negotiate costs. Almost everything is negotiable. Even if it's like a credit card company with the interest rates or a utilities company, if you have been a loyal customer of credit card companies, utility companies, any of these kind of companies, you can always call them and say, I have been with you 5, 10 plus years. What can you do for me? Because the other person over here is offering me XYZ to jump ship. And they know that you can easily jump ship. So negotiate all of your costs. Audit your operating expenses semi-annually. This is something that I definitely do with clients because we start to forget how many subscriptions, little subscriptions that we pay for. $100 a month, $30 a month, $5.99. I looked on my credit card the other day. I was like, Apple, $29. What am I paying $20.99 for? I don't even remember. Sometimes you don't even remember. There was something that you signed up for. You thought you unsubscribed, but then, you see that charge every month, $49.99 a month. I was like, what is this for? So check that out on a semi-annual basis at the very least. Growth sucks up cash, so do one effort at a time. I had a $500,000 organic beauty and skincare company client. They made $500,000 in sales. Sounds like a wonderful number, but they barely had enough cash to run the business. Why was that? So when I peel back the layers, they were doing like 3 or 4 major cash-intensive efforts at the same time. Their production, their ingredients and everything, very costly to make organic products. Their packaging, gorgeous, costs too much. Sometimes you don't have to do too much with the packaging. Like, it just costs too much. Third thing is they had a huge marketing effort going on at the same time. Sometimes $500,000 for some people sounds like a big number, but it's not necessarily a big number when you have competing interests for the money. So really think about and prioritize what are the major things that need to happen. If you're a product-based company, making sure you get those orders out to customers is critical. You don't want to have backlog, because then that shows up on your social media that you're not on time, and then that affects new customers, right? And of course, you want to do marketing and sales efforts to get more people in the door. But work with somebody to figure out how to prioritize what you need to spend on first over the other thing. Here are some ways. Oh yeah, manage cash spent to repay debt. How many of you live in the camp of, I don't want to owe anybody anything? You know what's interesting? I hear that from a lot of women business owners. I don't want to owe anybody anything, so I pay my credit cards off every month, and everybody's so proud about it. Now, it is great to pay on time and to pay your credit cards. But sometimes it's okay just to pay the minimum at the moment. Because if that cash needs to go towards inventory for holiday gifts, if that cash needs to go to pay for that contractor, for that client that you need to service, then you need to redirect the monies. Always pay, if you're in a cash crunch, always pay at least the minimum required to maintain your credit standing as a person and your entity, because you can build credit for your business separate from yourself, whole other class and workshop. But you also want to be able to have the benefit and the space to leverage that credit card. So manage cash spent to repay debt. So here are some ways to speed up cash into the door. Offer creative payment plans for late payers. So you might have those people. I have a couple of these people. First time that I've had people pay me like 6 months, a year. And what I've had to decide is, okay, I'm gonna charge you interest, and I'm gonna start, and communication is key. I said, it's been great working with you. I thank you very much. I understand what's going on in your business, but I also need to get paid. So as of June, whatever, I'm going to start paying you and charging you interest on a monthly basis. And I would like you to pay me X dollars per month until you pay this down. It worked out. We have a communication, but we're still building interest. I have another client. She owes me about $27,000. How did that happen? I just wanted to support her during this time. And not because I'm the CFO, I knew exactly what was going on in her business. I said each week, the same way that you're paying merchant cash advance people. Any of you have merchant cash advances? Okay, so these are like PayPal credit, QuickBooks credit. They give you money up front, but then they automatically deduct from your bank account every week. They take that money out. All right, so you're gonna pay me like you pay the merchant cash advance. I need $500 a week until you pay this off. Now, $500 versus $27,000, you know how long it's gonna take to pay me back. But I made her accountable. And I said, I need you to be intentional about this. I need an email every week that you're letting me know when that money is coming in. So have like arrangements like that if you see that somebody is a late payer. Create revenue streams that alleviate a client pain or solve a customer problem. Always be creating in your business and always be talking to your customers. We get so bogged down in our day that we forget that we are reaching and touching people. There's people at the end of our products and our services, and their needs change like the weather. And if we don't stay on top of what they need, then we won't know how to shift our business, right? And make different offerings. So always be on top of that, because that could be an opportunity for additional money coming in. Consider raising prices even 1%. Listen, we are in inflationary times. That inflation number is like 3.5%. Last year it was up to 7.5%. Everything costs a lot of money. So that means that we probably have to raise our prices. And more times than none, unfortunately, a lot of women business owners, we are underpricing ourselves. There's a whole conversation about worthiness and whether we deserve it. So I challenge all of you to raise your prices, even if it's 1% or 5%. Because you know what? Some of the clients are not even going to budge. I've had people tell me, you know what, I thought you should have been charging more before. I had a client, not to make this woman versus man, but I had a client that I've been with for 2 years tell me when I finally raised my price, he was like, I would have paid this from the beginning. I don't know how you let me get away with paying what you charged me before. I was like, oh, why didn't you tell me? He was like, well, I'm a business owner, so I don't care about you. No. But he loves me now, and he doesn't make any decision without me. So even though he's in a cash crunch, I get paid. Next one. Other tips: monitor monthly cash burn. Cash burn is the amount of money that comes out your bank account every month. It is different from expenses. I'll say that again. Cash burn is the cash or money that's dripping out of your bank account on a monthly basis. It is different from expenses. So expenses, cost of goods sold, cost for direct labor, ingredients, all of those things, all part of running the operations of your business. But there are other cash obligations. We got to pay bills that we didn't pay yet. We have to pay credit card debt. That's all cash coming out the bank account. But that's not considered expenses. That is cash. That's a whole nother conversation, the difference between expenses and cash. So really monitor on a regular basis your business bank account, how much cash on average on a monthly basis, including paying yourself, is coming out of your bank account. One of the most important metrics to monitor on a regular basis, so that you know you can compare it to how much cash is in the bank, and you can figure out how many months of cash do I really have and what do I need on a regular basis. All right, include your pay in pricing. Don't forget to pay yourself. Include that in your pricing. Okay, let's move on. So I'm giving you a cash flow tool. This is the first gift. I told you I had a couple gifts for you. This is a cash flow tool because cash is the lifeblood of your company. Right within the Google sheet that is there is a video, a blue link that shows you how to use this on a regular basis. I think at the very minimum, everybody should be tracking their cash in and out of their bank account on a monthly basis. If you are in a critical cash situation, let's do it on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis. Do you hear what I'm saying? I have a client that's a $3.5 million client. We are talking every month about what can you pay and what you can't pay. So we're on a monthly cash flow cycle here. Let's move on. Number 2, not tracking performance. I'm going to move a little faster here because I don't know what my time is doing, but anyway. So some of the pitfalls of not tracking performance is you end up overspending, you end up leaving money on the table, you're not really competitive. But let me move into what are some popular measures of performance, and health. So there are 3 financial statements that measure the health of a business. A healthy business is not just profitable. It is profitable and cash flow positive and solvent. You need all 3 things to be a financial healthy business. Most people just spend time looking at their bank account. That's cash flow. You also need to be looking at your profit and loss statement, which is what revenue is coming in and what expenses are going out. That's telling you how much profitability you have in the business so that you can redirect that money towards growth, towards paying yourself, or to making other investments. The third really important financial statement that a lot of people forget about, and it is the most important to lenders and investors, is the balance sheet. The balance sheet measures your solvency. It shows what is the value of the assets in your business, which is what you own, compared to what you owe, liabilities. You always want to have more assets over liabilities. That shows the power and the value within your business. And your assets, that's what you can turn into cash. Okay? You need all 3. Now, if this is terrifying to you, and you're not accustomed to looking at your financial statements on a regular basis, or you don't have someone like me that's helping you figure out how to improve your performance, start with 5 metrics. 5 financial metrics that you track on a weekly basis so that you feel good as a business owner that you're doing the right thing. I will give you 2. Revenue by product or service, so you know which one is making you the most money, so you could push that button every time so you can get more money. And the second one I mentioned before, which is cash burn. How much cash is leaking out of your bank account? I'll give you 2, but then the other 3, figure out what's pertinent to your business. All right? Let's keep moving. Third financial mistake that makes or breaks small business is operating without the right systems, policies, and procedures in place. Some of the pitfalls of that is there ends up being fraud. I've seen it. Trouble with the IRS. I've seen it. Inefficient operations. You waste time and money. And here are some solutions to that. So here's what to consider when establishing your infrastructure. Some of you who have been in business for a while, you have some of these systems in place. Those of you who are new in building, take a photograph of this. I would say one of the most important things on here is financial record keeping system. QuickBooks, Wave, FreshBooks, some place where you're organizing your financials into a system that makes sense and will produce reports for you is critical. If you're new to your business, it's okay to start in spreadsheets, but don't stay there. And whoever's managing your accounting system, make sure they know accounting. A lot of people are bookkeepers. They know QuickBooks, they know the system and how to manipulate the system, but they don't know the accounting. So I walked into many businesses, $1 million, $10 million in revenue, and they're like, I got a bookkeeper. What do I need you for? And I look at the books and it makes no sense. The P&L don't make no sense, the balance sheet don't make no sense. I said, where did this person get a degree from? Oh, they said they had experience. No, call and find out the referrals of your bookkeepers or whoever's on your money team so that you know they know what they're talking about. Okay? Now, you can have systems in place, but what's even more important, and you don't have to get spooky deep with it, is having rules of engagement. For example, the person that is depositing your money in the bank account should not be the person doing the bookkeeping. Yeah. Because if you get checks from a client, let's say for $10,000, they pocket $5,000, they deposit $5,000, and they run your QuickBooks, which has the invoice, the customer's invoice in there. They can manipulate the invoice and put $5,000 on the invoice, and then it looks like you only got $5,000 if you're not paying attention, right? That's the rules of engagement. If you have a retail store, who's managing the cash when you start? Who's managing the cash at the end of the day? Who's counting it? How are you comparing sales to cash, right? Who's taking the money to the bank account? Where's the money staying overnight? Who has access to that lockbox where the cash is staying? All of those things should be rules of engagement for how your systems run, how your financial systems run. It doesn't have to be a big financial SOPs manual. Just think about what are the different ways that money flows into and out of your business and where are there opportunities for fraud. I worked with a $10 million cleaning company. I walked in there, they had one bookkeeper doing everything financial. We realized that over 6 years, this person had committed fraud and they were at risk of a huge employment audit. At the end of the day, they owed the IRS 6 figures. Because this bookkeeper, one, was not doing the right thing and did not really understand what an employee was and the difference between an employee and an independent contractor. Conversation for a whole nother day. Don't make that mistake. All right, let's move on. Fourth is poor future planning. Future planning is key. One of the pitfalls, well, some of the pitfalls, you run out of cash and capacity to run the business. You make misguided investments and spending decisions. You're unable to reap the financial rewards. So let's move on to some of the solutions. One of the questions that I ask every prospect is, what is your 12 to 18 month financial goals? They give me some number. I don't know where the number came from. 750K, $1 million. Ooh, that sounds good. I said, how are you going to get there? They have no idea. They don't got a plan in place, but it just felt good to say the number. right? Another question that I ask people is, what is your greatest financial desire? When I ask 5 whys down, I've asked 100 business owners from about 250K to 5 million, the same question. What it boiled down to was 3 things. Ooh, this is weird. What it boiled down to was 3 things. They want to be able to hire people. They want to be able to pay the people they have more or reward them with benefits. And third, they want to pay themselves more. How many of us want to give ourselves a raise? Your hand ain't high enough. You want to give yourself a raise?
Yes.
You want to be able to hire people. You want to be able to invest in the growth of the people that you have. What do you need? Dun, dun, dun. Profit. Yeah, you're like, oh, that sounds simple. It's not so simple to get more profits. So I have come up with a solution. It's called the profit method. And over the past 7 years, I have taken what I've learned from my $1 to $10 million clients and packaged it into the profit method, which I've also talked about in my book. It's 6 steps towards growing a financially profitable business, on average 20 to 30%. I can talk about it more at a workshop that I have coming up on October 4th. So if you'd like to join that workshop and learn a little bit more about some of the tips in the profit method, then you can scan that right there and register really easy on our Zoom in a couple of weeks. No, next week. Oh my God, it's October next week already. So this is my second gift to you all. You all will also get this at the end after this summit. I think they're going to send a follow-up email with all the resources, but I do want to personally invite you all to the next workshop. Let's move on. And number 5, love to talk about this. The 5th financial mistake that make or break small businesses is lack of accounting and financial expertise. In my book, chapter 7, it says, don't freestyle your financials. There's a lot of like dance and money and music things, metaphors in the book. Some of the pitfalls of that is you get nervous investors. If you don't have people on your money team that can talk money and can talk to the money people, they won't respect you in the same way. And that's the conversations that I love to get into. Bankers may rescind the offer to lend because sometimes your financials are what they are, but you just don't know how to communicate what people don't see behind the lens, right? I've had clients where they're doing very well, and the banker might not give them money because of one data point that is really stupid. And the issue at the moment for this particular client was just that they had an old CPA, they didn't know what they were doing, and they transitioned to a new CPA. And that's why the numbers look funky. Right? But if you don't have someone in the room who's asking the right questions, then you might never have that opportunity. So, take a picture of this slide. There are 5 stages of a business's life cycle. And you need different people at different stages on your money team. Everybody starts out with a good CPA, certified public accountant. By the way, every certified public accountant is an accountant, but every accountant is not a certified public accountant. Okay? So, people start off with a CPA and they try to manage the financials themselves. Once you move from existence to survival mode, things become more complicated, you have more transactions, you need to get them in an organized fashion beyond Excel. You need to have someone organize them in an accounting system or accounting software that helps you produce financial reports so you understand how your business is performing so you can make decisions and course correct if there are issues. That person would be then a bookkeeper. A lot of people have bookkeepers not just do the bookkeeping, right, which is putting the transactions in the right bucket. This is why you need the bookkeeper to have accounting experience. But you can also have the bookkeeper run payroll or do some invoicing or billing. But remember my rules of engagement. Don't have the bookkeeper doing everything just because it's cost effective for you. Because at the end of the day, if they end up being fraudulent, that is way more costly than the investment that you could make in having some separation of duties. As you move into the success phase of the business, now I find clients or business owners want to know, what else can I figure out from my numbers? Is my business profitable? What products are profitable or not, right? What projects are profitable or not? They might need help accessing capital. They might need someone to create projections so they can go for bigger investment, like JJ was talking about. That is where a CFO comes into being. That is what I do, and because of my financial background, I felt that was the space on the money team I wanted to sit for business owners. Nowadays, just so you all know, in the industry, everybody is calling themselves a CFO, just FYI. And a lot of people who are CFOs don't have finance experience. Accounting is different from finance. Eventually you need both people, but just know, everybody who claims to be doing tax returns, bookkeeping, and oh, by the way, we do CFO services, are not always CFOs, right? So really ask them, what is different between those things? Have them explain it to you. And if you have any questions, you can always DM me and I can help give you clarity, okay? No, keep it up there, let's go back. Sorry, growth and maturity. What I also wanted to do in this top line is I wanted to show you what your financial strategy should be at each of those stages. What is your focus? So in the beginning, it's bringing in customers, making sure that cash flow is flowing, the math is mathing, you're managing costs, and you're managing expenses. In the survival space, this is when now you're probably growing and you need access to credit and capital, right? So managing your credit situation and your profile is really critical. When you get into the success phase, now you're looking at all three pillars of performance that I talked about before. Not just cash flow, but profitability and solvency. And figuring out, how do I want to grow my business? Do I want to use the cash that we just built? Do I want somebody else's money? This is why sometimes debt is good, right? Or do I want to give a little piece of ownership of my business to someone else in the form of equity? And depending on your business situation, certain types of funding, as Kate mentioned, is necessary. But it's important to talk to the right financial people to figure out what is the best portal of funding for you, whether it's crowdfunding, VC, private equity, whether it's bank, traditional bank, alternative investments. There's so many vehicles out there, and you have to figure out what is the right one for you. And then when you get into growth and maturity, now you're really thinking about, how do I scale the business, right? That may be geographically, or you get into a complementary business, or you may get into different services, or you may build a partnership or acquire another company and grow and scale that way. So I want to leave this with you for sure. A lot of people have questions about, what's the difference between a CPA, bookkeeper, CFO? I hope this slide is helpful to you. Now, final slide. I want to just remind all of you, we are business owners in here and we wear many, many, many hats. You are the chief visionary. Let's go back to that PowerPoint. Oh no! Okay, anyway. Yeah, that's okay, you can shut it down. You're probably not gonna be able to find it. All right. See, things like that happen. You gotta be able to go and move, all right? But I was on my last slide, my second to last slide. I'll bring it back up so that you guys could see my contact information. That was the last slide. But we're all wearing various hats. I think one of the most important hats you could wear is that of a chief financial officer. Like I said in the beginning, you are the chief financial officer of your business and your life. Whether you want to take that on or be intentional, it is so. So I want to continue to encourage all of you to have a positive, engaging, exciting, fun relationship with your numbers. And I want you all to repeat after me. Everybody, repeat after me. I am I don't hear like 50 voices in here. I am the chief financial choreographer of my business and my life. Once again, I am the chief financial choreographer of my business and my life. Last time, I want you to stand up and say it and mean it. For those of you who don't know what a choreographer is, it's the lead person that creates a dance piece. And I see creating our life and our business as a choreography and as a dance, right? Back to my passion. All right. I am the chief financial choreographer of my business and my life. One last thing. And I'm going to have fun doing it. Yes, thank you all.